We all care about education. We all care about students. We've not done a very good job in the past to make education work for our students because we've all thought we had the best ideas. We've got to try something different.
This particular Launch Michigan effort is focused on students, importantly children, Michigan's children, and it wants to do something that funds the K-12 system both adequately and equitably.
We're not looking to fix the symptoms of our system. We're actually really thinking about how we rework the system to be effective for today's students and to really be prepared for the changing economy. That's a different approach.
We've not had this kind of table come together where you have labor, business, education advocates, philanthropy, and a whole wide array of other players figuring out what's the right path forward for Michigan. I think that's pretty unique.
We used to be a top-performing state 20, 30 years ago, and during that time, education funding has been relatively flat compared to other states. We've seen our reading scores stay flat, our math scores stay flat, and we've also seen educators really feel like it's not a good profession to be in.
Rather than taking our problems to our policymakers, we're going to take consensus and a strategy and a set of recommendations over the long term that we think will make a difference.
Launch has taken a very thoughtful approach to their policy development and making sure that the coalition is ready to move forward in bold ways that are long-term and sustaining. I think that's a pretty healthy way to go forward.
The three priorities for Launch are, first of all, preparing graduates for the world. Secondly, rapid improvement. What we want to do is be a fast mover among the states, improving our system quickly. And the third is equity. And making sure that we're funding where the most need is. And that's a different way of thinking about it than we've done historically.
Well, I think literacy is everything, and that if we aren't concentrating right now on where our children, pre-K, K1, 2, and 3, are doing in their reading, that any hope for achievement as we go forward will always be missing something.
Because it's the bellwether for our educational system. If we master this particular indicator, it will tell us that we're improving in all of the other areas throughout our state. We have a tiered approach because we know that in order to rework our entire system, it's going to take lots of investment, lots of different ideas, and it's going to take some time to get it accomplished.
Then we need to really look at the overall funding structure and say, is it equitable? Because we know that fair isn't equal, that we have to allow those students who are shorter like me to have a taller box to stand on.
That's a real big difference, actually, in the way Michigan has funded education. And so moving from equality to equity, I think is a fundamental set of recommendations coming out of Launch Michigan.
We cannot talk about accountability without talking about funding, and we cannot talk about funding without talking about accountability. They're inextricably tied together. And if we can do those two at the same time, then I think what we're doing is actually creating an education system that respects educators and prepares students.
Launch Michigan is critical for a more prosperous Michigan.
We've all gotten clear about what the problem is now. We are committed to staying at this for the long term. We're committed to staying focused on the public policy, to take it in phases and years, not one single set of recommendations.
We have no children to spare. We have no time to spare. We're losing children and students and educators every day to a system that isn't working for us anymore. We must act now and we must be bold, and let's make the most of Michigan's public education for every student, really and truly fulfill the promise of a quality public education for all students.